Yeah, I don't know if you can hear us, but we can see. They can see us. So
Yeah.
um, I got them because I had to convert my bedroom into like a dual like sleep. I never had tech in my room because I just don't believe in having technology in your bedroom. But I couldn't when the
Wow. I told you. Muted never fails. There's always one thing. And muted is usually it. Anyways, let's restart that real quick. I am Rebel Dog. Welcome to the Doghouse Live. Thank you, Chadley. But anyways, the Doghouse Live was created to bring creators together to kind of interact with different communities, different creators, so you guys could find out about the actual creator themselves instead of what sits, the person that sits behind the camera. Sometimes it's different, sometimes it's not. But for the most part, the Doghouse Live is just a meeting hall, I guess you want to say. If you want to come through and you want to meet new creators, you can go back on our creators that we've already talked to. We don't believe in interviews, we believe in talking. So the creators get to tell their story the way they want it told, and it's just kind of chilled and relaxed. But anyways, on with the show. One last thing is this Saturday, don't forget, October 30th, starting at 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern, we have the Stack Up Call to Arms charity event kicking off. We'll start it at 10 Eastern, and we'll start in kind of explaining what Stack Up is. I have a lovely lady coming in from Stack Up that's going to help me kind of explain that and get things kicked off. And then at 11 a.m. Eastern, we are going to kick off a special Warzone tournament. I can't speak. Words are hard today. But we're going to do a Warzone tournament, and it's a boys versus girls. It's kind of a different kind of thing, but we have 4 girl teams and 4 boy teams. They're going to fight it out in Rebirth, and whoever comes out the victor in the first round gets to advance to a second round, and it's going to be a speed round. And then whoever has the most points, the most kills, everything else at the end of that round, will get to take home the trophy, the $200 cash, and also some other neat prizes given to us by our sponsors, Glitch and Techni. I am really thrilled that Glitch and Techni have become a part of this. So hopefully, and also Get Wet. But then we'll go on to that. We'll go on to that later. Anyways, GameHers. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of GameHers. GameHers is a awesome platform. I have been watching them on and off for the last 2 years at least, from Mixer to Twitch. And what they do is they promote creators, female creators, not just creators in general, like streaming creators, but they have a plethora of different categories that they do. They have, entrepreneurs, anybody that does anything that basically, the same thing as us. A creator is anybody that brings anything into existence. So that's what they do. But tonight we have Verda, which is a co-founder. We have Caroline, and we have one of their ambassadors, Angelica. They're going to be live tonight with us. As you can see right there, they're all ready to go. I did a brand new setup tonight, so hopefully that it works. Bear with me. And you guys all ready to go? And thank you for all the follows. Thank you, Vandy. Oh my God, Vandy. Thank you, theGameHers. Thank you, Verda. Thank you all for the follows over here. Appreciate y'all very much. And welcome to the Doghouse. You guys ready to go? I think we're ready. Let's see if this works. I have it, but I'm scared to use my Stream Deck because I know it's gonna mess up. So let's go do this. Let's see if they're ready to go. All right, another thing we'll be talking about tonight is, as you can see over here on this side of the screen, whatever side that is on your side, the Game Her Awards. That is so awesome. So November 18th, they finished. I think the 25th, all the tallies are in. So now they're waiting to figure out who gets to win. So all right. Oh, you know what? This ain't gonna work. So we're gonna have to do this. We'll just do it this way.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. It just dawned on me that the way I wanted to do something was not going to work very well. So we're going to do this. Sorry, I told you.
Okay.
Because I figured, I just realized, because you guys can't hear me unless I'm actually in here.
That is correct.
Indeed,
It just dawned on me when, the light bulb went off and it's like,
funny. When you said it, I was like, I'm so intrigued by how this setup works.
Yeah.
How are we gonna know what he's saying?
it worked great in my head. But so I'm going to do a little, where'd it go? Okay, there it is. All right. So we're just going to go there and it's going to be a little black for now. But anyways, this works. Like I said, that's what I get for changing things up over the last few days.
90% of streaming is just tech.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
You just, why is OBS breaking on me? Who knows?
Yeah.
Not I.
Yeah.
On with the show.
Yeah. That's what it is. It's just like, it's just like any other live production. There's always something. It's just like 90% of the time, it's just like people make it look so natural that you never know it was a mess up.
Mm-hmm.
Go with the flow.
I remember one time my driver decided to need an update in the middle of a stream. That was great.
That's the worst thing where you're like, yeah, I'm gonna play this game on stream. I'm super excited, and then you start playing and that doesn't work, and you're like, why isn't this game working? You check everything, and then you realize it's your driver. You're like, the one thing that should be auto updating just isn't today. That's
not today. Or I've learned, don't literally give 24 hours if you're downloading a game.
Yeah.
Because you just don't know what's gonna happen. And remember, I've been in a couple of situations where I'm like, yeah, that's still downloading.
We're just gonna talk. We're gonna talk until it's done.
Or I literally have to be like, we're just gonna pick a different game because it's not gonna happen today.
Yeah.
I'd be like, Caroline, help me. I've gotten so much better.
It's okay. We've come a long way, Verda. We really have.
Or you could be like me. It's just like I was really nervous because I was down to my last couple of episodes of this, and we were having cable issues and power outages in the area, and it never failed. The last two episodes that I had, thank God, one of them, she had to redo her schedule, so I didn't have to worry about losing internet on her. But yeah, we started a brand new episode with me and Pirates. Doing the serial Sundays. We were talking about serial killers. We got like an hour and a half into it, and the power just goes poof. And so I'm like on my phone because the chat's still live, and I'm sitting there going, okay, sorry, power went out, be right back.
So crazy. Do you think that these power things have been more an issue in the last year and a half, like that, because so many people? I do think it's been like really hella crazy because so many people are relying on it in these different ways.
Well, I know ours was because they've been doing work out on our side streets and stuff like that for, I don't know. There's just been some weird work going on, like street work going on that there's no need for it. And then all of a sudden, they tear up half our street. And then I think what happened is when they redone something, and then plus we got a bunch of new neighborhoods going in around us.
Yeah.
And I think what happens is they charge everything for the neighborhoods, and I think, it just blows the boxes. They don't know what the grid size is until after they get everybody on them. But yeah, and internet issues. I've been having, the internet issues. It's like every night, because I usually start these streams about this time during the week because I work during the day. So it's just like I have to get on my phone and check my cable provider to make sure that there's no issues in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Because it never fails. It's just like, it's a scary thing when you're watching OBS and you're in the middle of talking to somebody and all of a sudden your green turns yellow, then red, and then your kilobytes start dropping like really fast.
Like you can't hold all your frames and they just start falling out of your, like, what am I doing with all these frames? I can't, they're just dropping everywhere. Like, gosh.
But yeah,
Technology.
but well, anyways, Verda, Carolyn, Angelica, I appreciate you all being here tonight. I'm really excited about it. Like I said, I've been, like I told them, I was like, I've been following you guys for, at least a couple of years now. I know, because I first heard about you guys on Mixer when I was over there, the good old days of Mixer. But did you guys start, I mean, was that like your main platform when you guys started, was on Mixer, or was you just like all over the place still?
What I will say is that we've done a really good job of people thinking that we've been here forever and eternity. I say that that's because we have a brilliant team of people, but we literally launched in March of 2020.
Wow.
Meaning like launched in the space, like as far as whether it's like our Discord or like kind of a what do I want to say, like a presence virtually. It was about like 6 to 8 months before that we just like kind of the concept and some research like about like forming the company. So that I think is amazing. When people are like, we've known about you, I'm like, yeah,
wow.
that we did a great job with our branding, and we've got like dope people doing amazing things. So we launched officially in March of 2020, and March of 20, because we're in 2021, we're about to be in 2022. And we just, the kind of the space that we wanted to be in is around, we're called the GameHers, HERS, because we wanted to amplify, elevate, and center women, and then bring along all of the folks that are also not centered, right? So our LGBTQ community, femme-identifying folks, men, and that supportive of that mission, and creating a space where we get to amplify and elevate, right? Like, and also like non-binary folks that love being in spaces that center women. So that's like all that we're about. And I think the stats will say one thing, which is true. Like, first of all, we're like half the earth. So let's just establish that. Yeah. And then let's just tick that off. And then, which means by nature, obviously, because like gaming and video games is kind of this place that's supposed to be just like equal. We're about half of that too, but you don't see it, right? Like it doesn't get represented in the money making, in the who you see on esports teams, just like even who you see in companies. And our goal is just to change that and to really make create a space where we can work to support and elevate, just elevate. Like I say generally like non-men in the space, and not in a way to exclude men, but just to say like that group of people. So that's it. So our first platforms actually for creating content, I would say, would be like, it was Twitch, and Caroline is like came on and created all of that, so she can talk about all of that. And then and like having a presence on other socials, right? Like, and we're still figuring out how to enter in other platforms like YouTube, TikTok, things like that. But yeah, so Caroline is our founding member who did all that.
I'm going to tell you one thing: you all nailed it on the marketing, because I would assumed you all had been around forever.
Yay! We love that.
Because like I said, when I first came across you guys, a few years, it feels like 2 years ago. So I guess it's only been a year, but
time has moved in a very strange way in the last little while. So I mean, I don't blame you a bit. It's felt like a decade in the span of 2 years. So yeah. But no, we only started March of last year, and I think I came on like, was it like April-ish?
Yeah, very soon. Yeah.
Wow.
It was like pretty soon after. So yeah, I've had the fortune of being able to like see the company grow, from its inception really to what it is now. And I hope I get to continue seeing it like, all the way through, because it's just, it's incredible to, get to meet all these amazing creators and see, like it's really interesting to see how we're actually making a difference. And I don't mean to like toot our own horn or anything, but when people tell you, like, this is a space that I've suddenly like felt welcome in that I haven't had in the gaming space and I've been looking for a long time. Like, to me, that means that we've succeeded, at least in one form or another. And I want to make sure that we can continue doing that for so many other people who feel like that's, you know, that's been lacking in one of their favorite pastimes or places that they want to like end up working in too, right? So we try to like maintain both the like hobby side and also promote the career side of gaming.
Well,
and actually that's how we kind of met Leela. Is like Leela is one of our ambassadors and she's an incredible content creator and she's been with us for also a long time. So I mean, there you go.
Yeah, I have. Thank you. Thank you. I've been, it's like whenever you're talking about it, about March in 2020, I actually, that's how I found theGameHers before I was actually, you know, got to be an ambassador, which I'm happy about.
And so are we.
But
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I was actually doing a lot of charity events. So whenever COVID hit, I did a charity for the Children's Hospital. So I did that by doing a 24-hour live stream. So we went and did that, you know, got some food to the hospital and everything. And then I found the GameHers page and I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. You know, like supporting women in gaming and stuff. I was like, I want a part of this. And so that was whenever, I guess they had just launched because I had like had like 1,000 followers at that point, and so I've like been able to be a part of it. And then I was like, I want to be a part of this. Yay! It's like early enough to where I can jump in. I'm like, hey, you guys like looking for ambassadors and stuff like that. So I was looking, and then I got to be one. So the journey has been amazing. Like being able to be like, I'm an ambassador for theGameHers. We're badass. Like you, if you're a woman in gaming and you want support, and you're trying to find a safe place and want to uplift other women and get them into this. Like I'm a part of this cool thing. You can be a part of it too. Like, and I've loved it ever since I've been able to be a part of it.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know. Like I said, like you said, I guess time's just been a weird thing. But yeah, I could have swore. I guess maybe because I think, because like I said, it was a transition. Because 2000 back then, it was a transitioning between Mixer and Twitch. So that's maybe why I thought you guys had been like, because the way you guys were so embedded in everything and so well known, you know, your name just, I mean, it was exploded against all the communities. You know, everybody knew who you were back then. Just if you guys were just, that's why I thought you were like been around forever, because people knew who you were.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, I totally think that timing was important. And I feel like I always want to name that we are not the first organization at all or company to want to like enter and really elevate, amplify, really talk about and discuss the things that make it harder for women to be in the space or elevate them, right? There's so many organizations that have done that prior. I think that what happened was this perfect storm, which is not perfect in the good way. I mean, perfect storm like that movie Perfect Storm, where was it George Clooney? I don't know, that kind of perfect storm.
Oh, yeah.
But out of that moment, it was, we're in the middle, right? A pandemic that's going to shut the entire world down. So we're all kind of wrapped in this moment of kind of finding new people to follow, new things to get engaged with, right? Because we're at home and we kind of are using our technology a lot more. I think that we're at a time, it's, you know, we're in a decade, I like to think, where women and lots of like, you know, Black, Indigenous, people of color, like people that are systemically marginalized are now having a voice because of these types of platforms, because of social media, that you can kind of like find and like listen to and kind of hear those stories. And then I think the other thing is, we want to elevate, like, and we want to collaborate. And I think we're in a time where people are also realizing that we can't do anything alone.
Yeah.
I don't want to do anything alone.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, and I think
Not
that
at
also,
all.
right? And I think that also is a part of it. So we just, and I just think that like so many amazing people like have gravitated to us for that reason. And we're trying to do it in ways that are authentic and organic and like just speak to who we are. So I think that that also reads as well, right?
Yeah.
I wish I could say it's like, oh, we had like billions and millions of dollars. No, we're trying to get to billions and billions of dollars. But there's a lot of it that had to do with that. And kind of really, we were talking a little bit before when we were chatting, just like getting into this, was really following where people wanted to go. So we started by building community in each of our spaces, and then like was really listening to just like, what does a community want? right? What do they want us to do? Like, because that's important. And I don't think it happens enough.
No.
And I definitely don't feel that it happens enough if you are a woman or any group that's marginalized, whether it be gender or race or ethnicity or sexual orientation. It doesn't happen enough for us in spaces. So,
yeah, no. Yeah, no, that's what I was telling you. It's just like, I'm really glad that there's something out there. Because like I said, I sometimes, because like 90% of my interviews and stuff like that have been, women, women creators and stuff like that. But I got to thinking, people, it's like, well, what, because my biggest fear is it's like, I'm just going to get tagged as this big pervert because all you have on is women. It's like,
gosh.
I don't know. That's just one of those
That's so
things,
crazy.
just to be honest,
That's very funny.
it's just one of those things that,
I mean, I listen, unless you're asking like inappropriate questions or anything, I highly doubt.
no,
I mean,
no, but
hopefully, listen, I'll be there, like, as far as I'm aware here, at this point in time, I'm here to back you up, and everyone else watching, this man is not a pervert. That's us. So we're good, at least at this point.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
but I mean, I know that might have, it's just, just like I said, I don't sugarcoat nothing, so everything just kind of comes out that, so, but
sure, yeah.
it's just not the fact, it's just, and that's what I tell everybody. Yeah, you don't pay attention to Chad. It's my mod.
Listen,
Watch
you
for
gotta
I'm not
treat
sexy
you
enough
gotta
for your
treat
show.
mods
Oh,
like
whatever.
they're your partners, right? You know,
Yeah.
I do that the same with my mods. My mods are like, they're my homies. Every time I listen, the nice thing about mods too is like I've met the few of them like in person. And I have like one really that's like my main mod, and I've met him in person at various cons, and I'm not directionally challenged, but when I'm going into a new space, I don't really know, like everything kind of switches around, the names switch around at like TwitchCon and stuff. So I just go on, I'm like, Will, where do I need to go? And I'm like 5'5", I can't see over these people, right? Like I'm sitting here. Will's like a solid like 6'2". He's like, well, you need to take that way, go up the stairs, take a left. Do you want me to just show you? I'm like, can you carry me? Like,
Like literally.
yeah. So he just leads me around all the time. Like this man's a freaking godsend, honestly.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, chat
mods with respect always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've got three solid mods that come in to every stream, whether it's just like now, today's Thursday, so he's off, but usually if he's at work or whatever and he sees me go live, he'll come on and just check in and say hi and everything else. So that's so yeah, I've got some pretty cool mods.
They are the lifeblood of the stream.
Yeah.
And I think, one thing I want to say, like, I appreciate you sharing kind of like how you felt about that. And I think it's important because I think that one of the things that we say a lot around, like, because we center women and we're about elevating women does not mean that men can't do that too. And that they shouldn't. No, but what I'm saying is like, right, I do feel like that fear stops some men from being like, hey, maybe I want to have maybe I should have more women on my show or whatever, like, but I don't want to have this thing happening. But just like what Caroline said, if you're not, you're not. Like, basically you're not going to ask the questions that are like that. Like, you just kind of know. And I think it's important to know that we need men wanting to actually have shows and conversations that uplift, elevate, and include women, and that are not just about talking about the things that are about us being women, right? Like that's my thing. Like when people ask me, like,
shows, regular shows,
just regular stuff, just like talking about regular things.
No,
and I think I love that. Like, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No.
I just think that because like what you're saying, like guys, if they are afraid to like come off a certain way, but in the reality, I feel like more of us women gamers and like who are content creators are very much like bro like anyway, we're just really chill. So like we're just as inappropriate as y'all half the time. Like my stream is rated 18 and up just because of something I might say. So like, and you're talking about mods, one of my mods, PB Cake, just came in just to lurk, just to hang out, so it's like your mods are your lifeline as well. And I feel like I always say it, like your community and your mods and everything are a reflection of you. And I feel like in that sense that guys shouldn't be so afraid to like we're fragile, like, or like that we handle our streams differently, or we do things differently. Like there's a wide variety of us as well.
Yeah.
No, but no, that's it's just like I told her that I think I've only had like one person actually say something. It's like, you have a lot of women on your stream. It's like, You know, well,
Yeah.
you can be on here just as
You're
well
like,
too.
yes.
You
He's
know,
like, yes, I do.
Yes,
you know,
Yes, I do.
you know, are you?
Because
I actually sit there and I did tell him, it's like, why are you jealous? You know,
exactly.
exactly.
you know,
Yeah.
you
Might
know,
be. You never
it's
know
not that's
nowadays. You know?
it's not that that's it's not that
Listen,
I'm just not targeting them. You know, I sent out a bunch of emails and a bunch of, you know, invites and everything else, and it's just like I just take the ones
Yeah.
that come back and say, oh yes, I'll be on.
Yeah.
You know,
And also, I mean, it says a lot that that we want to be here,
Yeah.
so to speak, right? Like I think that
Mhm.
that's also it. And I think, you know, I had the honor of being a part of a conversation that was really just talking. One of the questions that was asked was like for us to name spaces where we felt most included and like kind of the most comfortable. And one of the sad things was that a lot of there's two parts to this. There's a sad and a not sad. But the sad was that many of the people in the group said it was communities that they created on their own, right? Like, and I was like, wow, that's so interesting. And then the other part was talking about people of all genders that they met in, whether it was in like, you know, in the chat or because they really loved a game or in a guild, and then met them kind of in real life, and like they felt really included there. And I think that you saying that a lot of women come on the show has everything to do with feeling like this is a place that is going to allow them to be their full selves, because trust and believe, we're not going to go somewhere if we think we're going to feel uncomfortable, and definitely not
No.
going to do it on Twitch.
yeah,
Like,
Oh,
you
hell
know,
no.
right?
You know,
So I think
you know.
it's something like that. Yeah.
Hard pass. Like
Yeah.
honestly, I've been so I don't stream like regularly, but like I've been I think I first went live like 8 years ago or something, long time ago. And the first few times like you stream and you start building your own community, there will always be people coming in too who are like just not ready, like not fit for you, and who are just
Yeah.
weird and awkward and rude and say crude things about your body, and you're like, I'm not willingly ever going to go seek that out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I highly doubt 99% of any content creator, like whatever gender they're going for, like they are not going to be seeking out spaces
No.
specifically so they can be talked down to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's
Yeah.
just,
I
you know,
mean, especially like, I don't know, that doesn't make me feel good. It doesn't make a lot of other people feel good. I don't expect that I'm gonna be going into a place and be like, yeah, I just want to be, you know, dragged through the gutter today.
yeah.
Just feeling
Today's the day. Let's just do it.
Today's the day. I just someone just like, yeah.
Well, if it means anything, like from the outside looking in, I've never been on one of your shows before, and I actually, you know, did my little research before to see, like, you know, what's the vibe like in here, you know, and I did like what I say. I felt like, oh, okay, that's like it's weight off of my chest. So this is gonna be something fun. This is gonna be something comfortable. Like everybody seems very much themselves, no like veil or anything. I was like, I'm gonna love this.
Yeah. And that's what I want, because everybody does when they come in. They sit there because that's the first thing is. It's like they go, well, I'm nervous. You know, what are we going to talk about? It's just like, trust me, I'm more nervous than you are because it's unscripted. We just kind of go, because I really did. When I started this show, I went by what they tell you. You know, you Google how to start a podcast or whatever they tell you. Get an outline set up, get questions set up, do this. Well, I have a basic maybe like 10 questions that I do in case we do get stumped, but I've never had to use them. And
That's perfect. Yeah.
Yep.
so, but yeah, it's just like for the first show, the couple of shows I did, you know, we did a mixer reunion. I had Glam Von Grimm on, Shadow Serpent, and Illcat. And they were all mixer partners back then, and we did like a little, you know, reunion type show over mixer because it was a mixer 1 year shut from the shutdown. And they were all just like, well, what do we talk about? It's just like, so I had all this list out, and it's just like I fumbled over myself and everything else. And then like the second one in, it's just like every time I sit there and would you want to come on for an interview, I'd have people say, nah, I'm good. And then I got to thinking, it's just like, well, I'm going to change that and not say interview, and we're just going to talk.
Yeah.
And as soon as I changed it from interview to talk, everybody goes, yeah, well, you know, just set, you know, we'll get a time set. We'll get a time set. And then so it just kind of went down the line, and then everybody still comes in and says, well, I'm kind of nervous. You know, I go, this is your story. This is what you want to talk about. You tell me what you don't want to talk about, and we won't talk about it. Then that's basically the way it goes. You know, if you have something in your life that I know about, you know, if you sit there and say, hey, don't talk about this, I'm not going to talk about it.
Absolutely.
So
that's kind of actually like how one of our shows on our Twitch kind of goes. Like we have a show that I produce called Pink Pixels, where we bring on creators, like women creators of marginalized genders, just game devs, like trying to get the works on everything. And it's the same thing, right? It's like we're bringing on these people to talk about their experience with gaming growing up, and then also like a lot of these people are mothers or parents, and they have like the experiences that they see in their children growing up, and like how does that happen, like how does it mirror. But I think the word like interview, like when I think of an interview, I always get like there's always a small, like a teensy tiny fight or flight reaction. Like in one or two of my nerves that just happens with the word interview. That makes me just want like, what? Like, it makes me think of like a job interview or something where I'm like on the spot, where it's like a conversation. It's just, we're just talking. We're just hanging out. We're just chit chatting.
So yeah,
Here's some stuff,
that just kind of leads back to everything you guys do. You just talked about your show. I did catch a couple of your shows of that, the last one, and I think the one prior to that, and then plus I've done my research. I went through to make sure I didn't miss anything that I over the because like I said, and I'm a research nut, so it's just like I go through and find things out, and it just to kind of get a vibe on how things are going to go, so I can know what to expect and kind of, I don't know, I'm just me. I mean, I tried to be somebody different at one time or another, and it didn't work, so I'm just me.
Exactly.
So. It's so much easier to be just you.
It just is. And you're the only you, so that's your special sauce, right? Like, and I think too many people kind of run away from that. I was at, so DMC from Run DMC, right? He makes comics now. I don't know if you all know this. If you're familiar with, I think it's. I'll Google really quick and see. So he spoke at NYU. He was actually at Comic-Con, this New York City Comic-Con, but I went. Wow. He spoke at NYU like in 2019 or I think it was 2019, early 2019. It was cold outside, so I think it was like in the winter. So he spoke there, and he wrote a book, and he also has a comic out that he does. And one of the things that he talked to, we were at, he's talking to university kids, and he said so many things, but one of the things that really connects to what you're saying, he's like, look, whatever you get teased for or picked on about or that you're insecure about right now is your special sauce. He's like, trust me when I tell you, right? So if you're just like super geeky or, you get picked on about it, like I think about myself, like now, right? Like I was like a dark skinned girl growing up. It was like all these things that I kind of like, my lips, like all of it that I shied away from. Now people like want this stuff. They like want to inject their bodies to have what I have. But I wouldn't have thought that at 17 or 16. And I think it was just a really important thing that he was saying to these like, teenagers and like young people in their early 20s is that whatever you think that is, people are drawn to it and will make fun of it perhaps because they're drawn to it. And I think that's the other thing about being a content creator or just like any moment where you're putting stuff out there. And it's scary, right? Like that's the whole part of it too. But it's about you just like being yourself. And not, I guess, feeding into what the world might be telling you about yourself that's not okay. And so for us, like one of the things is just how to create spaces where you can just be yourself. And how do we create enough spaces where you can find other people that like either geek out on the thing that you do or want to talk more about that thing, but that's what it is. And for women especially, because I think so often we have to hide that to feel like we're being successful in the world. And this is not just in the gaming industry, right? This is like in professional spaces, like all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, like you can't survive like that. So I think it's really important to have these spaces where you can just show up as yourself. You can create and you can get advice, or you can like talk to other people and like learn things from that. But when he said that, it was like, that's your special sauce. And it's like so true. Like he's like, that's your special sauce. So like lean into it. Right? Lean into it.
It's just like what you ladies are doing. What you're doing is your whole special sauce. So it's just like, I mean, like I said, for somebody, I'm still amazed that it's only 2020.
Well, and I'll say the another
It's
reason
like-
that has worked is because as founders, we've said, like, we have 4 founders. I don't know everything about everything. So like,
Yeah.
I know a lot about some things, and we just found other amazing women to kind of come on board and like take that thing that you do really great. Caroline, go do that. Like, go do that. Like, our ambassadors, like all this stuff, and that's really important. Like, we don't try to hoard it all. Like, I gotta have all the answers. That's also not a part of it too. So
and that's probably what's helped you grow, you know, in the short time that you've been doing this, is the fact that you have such a strong management team to help do that, you know, because I'm sorry, any business, you know, and that's one thing, you know, trying to get creators to understand that this is a business if you want to make money out of it. You know, and if you're not going to treat it like a business, you're never going to make money out of it.
Well, and that's exactly it too. And I have to say, obviously I'm a little like biased because I mean, I've been with theGameHers for over a year now.
That's good. That's all right.
You know, but the great thing is, you know, for a place that, you know, just like I've worked for several startups in my life. And I've seen them rise and fall. I've moved countries for them. Like, I've seen a lot of how things work, but I've never felt more valued than when I have been working at theGameHers. And I've let the management know that. Like, I've told Verda, I've told, you know, Heather and Rebecca and Lauren, and it just, you know, to be able to come in and be trusted on your knowledge.
Yeah.
And not be second guessed about what you're a professional in is really, really nice, you know, because like,
Yeah.
okay, so my background is in graphic design, advertising, and illustration. Like, I'm actually a graphic designer by trade. My first job out of school was actually with a company called Revlo, which Will mentioned, which is kind of
I was
like,
wondering what that meant, but okay.
yeah. So Revlo was this. So you know the like point system. If you look on your Twitch, you know the point system, like on certain channels where like you gain points by watching, and then you can like spend it on fun things. We made that.
Oh wow.
That was a separate thing. And that was like, it was called Revlo, and it was like light blue branded and everything. It was like a separate paged like website in browser. You didn't have to download anything, and you earned points, and then you spent them on things that the content creator would set up.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I ended up leaving at one point, just, you know, I ended up moving back and everything. And unfortunately, as startups, you know, happen, not all of them like make it to the big leagues, you know, it's a very tiny percent, but a lot of my coworkers now work at Twitch making exactly what they did before. And that's great because that's like literally something that, you know, we were working with Twitch on it anyways, but you know, it happens so long as they have a job, right? Like that to me is like the end point. And we were able to bring something really interesting, I think, to content creators. But that's kind of like, so I've kind of been in the space, like doing back end ish kind of things, and also like working with content creators. Anyways, long story short, very nice to have people, you know, especially in a startup, value the way that, you know, your history and what you work on. And say, okay, you actually, you know what you're talking about, and like, we trust you, and you can educate us on certain things. And if there's things that we have questions about, then we can either work on it together, or you go and like take it in as your kind of like domain, right? Like you work on it yourself, and then you go to it. And it's very validating, and it's been a really really nice to work for theGameHers, honestly.
That's good.
A lot of really great people through it too. So,
but see, it's things like that make your job. It makes your job not a job.
Exactly. Well, and it makes my job. It doesn't make me dread going to work.
Yeah.
Right. Even if work is
and we've
from my
all been
bed
there
through my PC, right? Like,
see,
like,
I have a philosophy I've lived by for a long time, and it's just like, if you like what you're doing, you know, if you go into it, like go to work full time for somebody and you like what you're doing, great. But if it ever becomes a job, then it's time to find something else, because that means the enjoyment's leaving, and it's time to find something. Because, you know, as human beings, that's what we do. We thrive for challenges. We thrive for, you know,
Enrichment.
reward, and enrichment,
yeah.
you know. And if we don't get that where we're at, then yeah, we just become this robot, and it's just not fulfilling.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, there are going to be times where, I mean, like, certainly there were times like when I'm working with the GameHers where I'm like, God damn, I really don't want to do this.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna be real. Like, I mean, I'm sure that's the same with like anyone. That's like, there's things like, I don't want to do this, or God, this is a drag, or this is no, we got to just push through this. But at the end of the day, like, I don't even need to remind myself of it because it's always it's ever present. I am fully like believing every day in our mission and like in bringing a space that is, rewarding and safe and it just fits so many different types of women and creators of marginalized identities. Like, I mean, I am so happy to be able to do that on a daily basis. So, I mean,
yeah,
can't really complain too much.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yay. and I think like
Hey, mister.
it is also about how to then, like, for me, it's always about replicating that experience elsewhere, right? Because I just think, I mean, we can't deny like all of these situations. Like we had Blizzard, we got Riot Games, we got all of these things that are like in the news. And it's so interesting because they're there. And I actually was, I actually talked to a woman who works at Blizzard Blizzard? No, Riot. And talked so much about how her particular team, like that wasn't even like her world was rocked, right? Not that she didn't believe, but also that. But so how do we create larger spaces where this happens for everyone? Because up until because it happens for some where they get to go and they get to be themselves and 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 how do we make sure that that can happen for like masses of people and very specifically masses of women in the space and masses of like marginalized genders in the space? That's kind of it. So I appreciate hearing that, Caroline, and I love working with Caroline. And that's the thing, like where you don't get questioned, like that you just trust, like this is, I know what I'm doing. So,
And you don't have to remind people. Like, the worst thing about a job is like having to remind people, I know what I'm doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Or and I've had to, I have a master's degree and I don't go around talking to people about my master's degree in politics and education, but there's moments where I'm like, I'm not an idiot. Like I literally studied this. And I think that too often, like, I don't know, as a woman, I feel like I've had to just do that so much. Like
so much.
Yeah.
Like,
I can believe that.
And it's like one of the I don't know if this is like a universal experience. It's definitely my experience for sure. Like, and granted, I have a lot of privilege as someone who like grew up in Canada, like is white, had an amazing education. Like I am fully acknowledging of it. And even then I still look at the interactions I've had over the course of like various jobs, like employment, even schooling, extracurriculars, and like medical fields, like everything else, like where I have to like reiterate something that I know something, and not that I just know it because like I looked it up or something, but that I actually have lived experience and I'm a professional, and I'm not going to know everything. I'm never going to know everything.
God, could you imagine knowing everything? It would be so boring. It'd be so boring.
I physically cannot perceive that. That is the like no. Anyone who says, I can imagine myself being like knowing everything.
No.
I feel like you're so full of it. Like, are you joking? Big red flag.
Yeah.
Purpose.
Yeah.
But like, defeat the purpose of us all connecting together. Like if somebody just what is the like we're all supposed to be here to interact with each other and learn from each other and all this stuff. And it's like, well, I know everything. It's like there's no way.
It's like no, you don't.
You don't.
It hurts me just to be like have to tell someone, I know what I'm doing. Please trust me. Because the minute you try to say, oh, trust me, there's some people will be like, well, I don't trust them anymore.
Yeah.
Because you just told me, like, it's like that knee-jerk response, right?
Yeah.
Like the amount of times I've had to tell someone, be like, please just let me do my job.
Yeah.
Like,
don't
hover over me. Like, please, like, the more you're questioning this, the less time we're gonna have to actually like do the thing we need to do, you know. So I don't know. It's a lot of complaining about nothing, but you know.
I have a boss
relatable.
that's like that. I have a boss that's like that. He tries to micromanage. It's like, dude, micromanage went out in the late early 90s. You know, it was proven it does not work for business. Go away.
Yeah, please just
go away.
I hate to tell you, but just mind your own business. Like, I get that this is your business, but mind your own business. You know?
Don't you have some paperwork you got to do? Or
yeah, like what? Go do your taxes. Like, I don't know. Leela, what were you gonna say about you had an experience as well?
Oh, just I feel like that's definitely relatable. And not enough. I feel like there are women who, especially me, like I've had to overcome that feeling of not being enough or not, or just doubting myself, because so many times in my life, somebody who thought that they were more knowledgeable than me or didn't have to respect me or didn't have to like listen to me because I'm a woman, like that repetitive style of thinking, like you have to overcome that. And there's a lot of women out there that feel that way, that are immediately submit, or me like, oh, maybe I don't want to know what I'm doing, or maybe, you know, I'm not as smart as I think I am, or maybe I just don't really know how much how this works, and I need somebody to teach me, because there's so many situations where they are being put down or have to validate it, so I have to speak up for themselves and be like, I actually know what I'm doing. Like, you're not gonna make me second guess what I'm saying or what I know, because I actually, like, there's just too many times that's been a thing, and I feel like that's something that a lot of us are still overcoming and trying to grow out of. And spaces like this helps us do that. Like, hearing stories like this or hearing experiences like this is more relatable, and you can relate to other people, and you're like, you know what, I felt like that too. And it brings that point of uplifting everyone and making sure that everybody is valid and their thoughts and their feelings as well. So.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, and once you get over that, you know, you're talking about the self-doubt, because I have self-doubt, you know, the self-doubt, I call it the self-doubt demon. You know, he rears his head at least 3 times a stream, I want to say, but you know, it's no, yeah. And you get that, you get to the point, it's like, okay, I know what I'm doing. And then you get those people that come in and do that or say that, and then it just it's just like an ongoing thing. It just,
and then it's just, so 2 things that I want to name. One is that one of the things we have, and we're launching, is a collegiate division or collegiate network. I don't know if division is the right word for it, for this very reason, right? So that from younger, right, young people, young women can be in spaces where other people are sharing those same experiences and be like, yeah, but that's not the case, right? And how can we help you to realize that if you want to be a content creator, and half of you already are. I just think, like, when I think of like Gen Z and Gen Alpha, I'm like, look, yeah, that's like y'all came out of the womb creating content. Like, my daughter, I feel like she was born creating content.
And I do not remember a time before the internet,
right?
Okay,
it's so funny. Like, if I were to show, she'll like be so mad at me, but if I were to show like her picture, like when she was literally born, it looks like she's posing. It's in that little incubator thing, and she just I'm like she was ready for the photo. Like, what in the world? You're like 3 minutes old. So I swear to you. And so
oh my gosh, like, she came out and she was getting sick. She was serving.
She was voguing.
Serving. She was ready. She was ready. She understood the assignment. She still understands the assignment. And so I feel like so that's one thing that we want to make sure of, is that like that this happens sooner, right? Like that it has to happen on both ends, so that sooner you start to realize those things. So I think about myself, like 19-year-old me, and the things that I might have pursued if I was at least seen myself, right? So even this conversation, or like a vision for it, but also even if there wasn't a vision for it, a group of people telling me like, this is possible, right? And I've totally forgot the second point that I was going to make. So it'll like likely come back at another time. But that's one of the things that's really important to us. So I just wanted to like kind of name, like, we want colleges to like sign up to be a part of it and to like create that network so that we can start to see this happening like younger.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that
was
what
I was gonna say, but yeah, go for it.
Yeah,
we
the second thing,
yes,
we're actually we've has it been launched yet, or is it launching in November?
but we're in beta right now.
Okay. Yeah. So we're launching an app, a GameHers app for mobile, your phone, whatever, where people can connect, play games. You know, it's basically a form of social media that, you know, people who want to connect in similar ways that they have been doing in our spaces can do so from the comfort of their phones. So it's a really, really great, honestly, like we're in beta now and we've tested it a whole bunch. And I've got to say, like, as someone who doesn't really go on like Facebook or Instagram very much, like I really like it. It's really nice. It's so easy to like connect with people and like keep track of things. And like, you know, people will post stuff about like their pets or their games that they're playing or, you know, tournaments they're joining. And it's a lot of people that, you know, we're very strict on the no toxicity thing. Because there's a lot of people, like, this is a whole thing, right? It's like the stuff that you're weird about, like your special sauce, you know, a lot of women, when they get beat down about it, they'll retreat to the point where like they won't show any of it. And we want to be able to kind of let people shine a little bit more, not just women, but like everyone really, allow people to shine in a way in the gaming space where, you know, they might not have had so much ability to do so previously due to excessive scrutiny. So
and we're really excited about it because I use this language of centering women really specifically, because it's not that it's just for women, right? It's for everyone. But it means that when you come here, you know that that's who we're centering, and you're going to be like kind of like hyper aware of like that's who we're centering. And so that means you're going to have to think about all the things that suck elsewhere, and you're not going to bring it here, right? Like it's not what we're doing here. And so we're really excited. And it's so funny. And so at my desk, this is, you can't see it. This is like, I'm going to pretend. But I was on, I think I shared this with you, Caroline. I was on a train and I drew pictures. This is like, these are the pictures. I keep them there of like this first idea for the app. And so there's this really, it's so, can we curse on this one? What do we? Okay, it's so fucking crazy to like be like, oh my gosh, like it's an idea. It doesn't look anything like this picture per se, but there was this idea and we're like making it happen. And the beauty, the thing that I love about a startup and also making things happen is that, and I think this happens when even when you're streaming or when you're creating stuff, you have no idea what the other humans are going to bring to it to make it something you couldn't have even imagined, right? And so that's like this beautiful thing to witness, is that it was an idea, but allowing other people to be a part of your idea means that it can just become something just even huger than what you ever imagined. So this is like a really cool moment, and we're just hoping that like already I think people enjoy being there, because what we're trying to do, like I said, is center that. And so knowing that, when I think people are coming into the space and they feel cool, like I literally was like giving a mom some advice on her like 3-year-old that was like being defiant, like not listening, but I was like, yeah, we could talk about that, and nobody's gonna be like, this is not a place for that, why are we talking about that, let's just talk about the game, go to the kitchen, like all that bullshit.
Oh my god.
See, I can't. If I'm ever in game chat and I hear that kind of shit, no.
The amount of like
go to the kitchen, like what is up?
Are you serious? Like, yes, absolutely. I can make a mean sandwich. It ain't gonna be for you. So, you know, absolutely.
Yeah, no, I've never, you know, like I said, I think that was instilled with me, you know, for the fact that, you know, I grew up with sisters. So it's just like, and my mom, you know, we had Neve, I had brothers and sisters, but my sisters were the only ones home when I grew up. So it's just like, I mean, so everybody, I think of everybody as my sister when I see them. So it's like, if I hear that, it's just automatic, you know, my defensive kicks in. It's like, wait a minute, you know, where did you grow up at? You know,
a lot of people just don't know how to treat.
You know,
I'm not even gonna say they don't know how to treat women right. They just don't know how to treat people right.
No, like, it's not women in general. It's just people.
Because you know, if they're talking to women that way, you know they're likely talking to dudes in a way that's like a little questionable at the same time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You're like,
it's
are
everywhere.
you okay? Like, do you need help?
See, and I always thought that was just,
like,
you know, I always thought that was just content people were, you know, they were just doing to make content with. And it's like I said, when I started getting heavier into the gaming and the streaming stuff, and it's just like, because my group that I always hung around and stuff like that, we were all the same page. It's like, no, you don't treat women that way. You don't talk to them that way, unless, it's an interaction like a, like a friend
or
or
person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
they're not going to be like all weird about it and stuff. Like,
but it's just like when I first got into, when Warzone came out or Warfare came out and then Warzone came out and then the toxicity in those public lobbies and stuff like that just amplified.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
where in the hell is your parents?
It's like,
And where is the bell?
like, where is all of it? Yo, okay, but like honestly, like that's one of the reasons why like I've stopped playing several games. I mean, like I'd wake up and choose violence if that's what I heard every day. My God. Like, when I started playing Overwatch, like when it first came out was so nice. It was great. Like everyone was being super helpful, whatever. And then it gets a little bit more popular.
Yeah.
And then I call them the degens. The degens come out of the woodwork and they start playing the game and their mic is like in their mouth and you can hear it peaking and they're saying some whack shit.
Yeah.
Like whack shit. And you're sitting there, you're like, what?
Exactly. Yeah.
The hell is happening right now? Like, oh God, degens from upcountry. Hell yeah. There's just too many. And you sit there, you're like, who raised you?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Did anyone raise
you? Did anyone raise you? A pack of, I don't even know if
like,
wolves do that.
Wolves
like
might
I think
be
wolves
actually
might be better, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, truly.
And I think,
because I was raised, when I was raised, because I lost my dad when I was young, so it was just me and my mom for a long time. So, she had to work. So I was raised by TV, but I was raised by like Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin movies. And
I used to love Jerry Lewis movies.
all
That's
those
like
old
one of
black
my
and
weird
white,
quirks.
and I fell in love with those, those were, I watched the normal stuff like, dating myself like Alf and all that, but the regular routine. But there was also shows like Friends, and that showed the compassion and the camaraderie that you kind of that you would have. So apparently those were not the shows those kids were watching.
No.
And I think there's an ability to be faceless, right? Like, so you're not like an actual, you can hide behind the mic and the headphones and the games and things like that. And I think that for me, when I have I have a 19-year-old and a 15-year-old who gamed, right? And so the things, and I would game with them, just like was one of the ways that I would connect and like actually like get my son to like talk about stuff, was just to like watch him play games and things like that. But to hear some of the stuff that's like said in the background. And I think the other thing is, one, we understand very well as founders and just like as a company, like where our strengths lie. That said, we want to help support and elevate those people that are going to help us to like change what the lobby's like, because the bottom line is it takes that whole group, all genders, to stop that. And that doesn't often happen, right? And there's this thing about bystanders not knowing what to do or say in those moments. But honestly, those are the people that can literally shut it down. And how do we like give them the space or whatever they need to kind of like do that in those spaces, right? We're not addressing that in this moment because we just know that it's not something that we can do. But what we're, and so we're trying to do the things that we can to do that. But like that's something that I feel really strongly that it's important. And I think there's some companies, there's one company called Modulate out in Boston, and they're just doing some really good things about how to change that. They're like really studying what people, kind of what actually is toxic. So for example, like certain curses are actually considered like not that big a deal, even though we might think it's like profanity or whatever. They've like done this search, they've done this like research to kind of like say like even like dropping F-bombs is actually not, those people are not as toxic as people that use other curse words. And it's just this like interesting thing, right? Right?
right?
Because there's some other curse words that you're like, ooh, that's like
there's
really,
some gamer, I call them gamer words.
I'm like,
I
clutching
call
pearls
them,
and whatnot.
I call them gamer words where I'm like, no, exactly. I'm clutching my pearls. I'm like, you said what now? Like, in my Christian Minecraft server, like, no, I mean, whew, Jesus,
Oh my god!
you
And
know.
so yeah, so I don't know.
I do not have a
there's lot
Christian
to be
Minecraft
done there.
server.
Everybody, as people furiously type, like the Kermit, they're like, "Oh, Christian, what?
Where is this now?
Right,
That's a
right.
completely different,
I need
you
to
know.
go drop
Yeah.
some F-bombs up in there."
Yeah. We actually had somebody come in the chat. We were talking about that. And, it's one of the things I always said too. We always joke around about saying, not in my Christian Minecraft server, and everybody's like,
Oh yeah.
"What? What's a Christian Minecraft server?" It's like, "Oh no,
You're
never
like,
mind."
It's okay. Don't worry about it. I say that all the
You
time.
don't know.
Just
You
like,
don't know.
whenever, I mean, I love some of the terminology that the gamers have come up with as well, just to mention
Chat.
very specific things. It's just like memes within memes.
Yeah.
The language that has evolved throughout online life, from curse words to just ways to express displeasure,
Yeah.
or excitement about a win or anything. Like, just it's amazing
Yeah.
how it's evolved. And granted, some of it, the way that it gets kind of perceived, especially like against women, can be very jarring.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure, like, there's a lot of also like this whole idea that there are I guess disses or whatever things that you would say to someone that feminize a gamer, and saying, oh, you like the whole idea of like, oh, you play like a girl.
Right. Exactly.
Like, that's an older example, because at this point it's almost like starting to be reclaimed in a way, right?
Yeah.
But even that, like, oh, like, you play like a girl, I'm just like, well, I am a girl. What? Like, I am one. Like,
supposed to do
what
that,
is
right.
it? Like, just because I beat you in something or whatever, like, now, okay.
I want to know. It's just like, explain to me. If I haven't had somebody say that, but if it's like somebody did, it's like, explain to me what you mean by play like a girl. I mean, does that mean that I beat your ass so bad that you can't stand up anymore? Or because most of the girls that I game with, and most of the girls that I know personally, could probably would beat my ass if it came down to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like again, like, why do people even need to be good at games?
No.
Like, that's the other thing. I know it's like pivoting like all over the place for me right now, but like,
But you're
there's so many
right.
points. There's so many points here that we try to address, right? It's like,
Yes.
I don't need to be good at a game to prove that I like video games.
Yeah.
I don't need to prove all my knowledge about everything else to know that I'm like really great in Dungeons and Dragons and love doing that stuff. Like, I don't need to prove nothing to nobody. Like,
No.
we just want you to be in the space and enjoy it, whether you want to do it, casually, professionally, as a career, like whatever you want to do. So,
And I'm glad
It's
I'm glad
really
there's more things out there like that app and everything else. I'm glad that there's more out there, because there, I had a developer on too that kind of created a safe space also for kind of like that. And so it's so nice to be able to hear that there's places out there that will, it's not going to totally get rid of Twitter, because we all need Twitter for interaction or and stuff.
Yeah.
Or for promoting and stuff like that, just because it's the number, one of the number ones. But to get away from Twitter and go to that, it's just kind of like I do with everyday life. Coming in here to do this is my my oasis,
it's a little vacation.
Yeah.
From all the garbage.
I shut.
What were you gonna say, Leila?
Oh, sorry.
You had a.
No, you're fine. I think it's really funny that people in my actual like day-to-day life that I actually interact with at work, or my friends here or whatnot, it's funny how most of them will ask about my stream or my streaming. They're like, oh, are you like in esports and stuff, or like people just watch you play, or like are you just really good? And I'm like, my streams are solely entertainment. I literally, there's nothing, like the only time I'm even a hint of competitive is if I'm playing Shinobi Striker, and that's still team based, but like everything else is pure entertainment, like me reacting to something ridiculous or whatnot. They're like, so you just sit there and people get you to like sit there and have a good time? Like, yeah, you should come hang out. Like, it's great. Like, what are you talking about? But that's the whole part about like building your communities and whatnot. And people think that being, oh, I have 10K viewers, or I'm doing this, or that is like the sole reasoning of being a streamer, or that's your sole way of making money. And I don't believe that 100%. Like in my experience, I feel like if you have a community or you have a brand or you have something that you're building, and you being happy in that space is what builds and
Yeah.
makes that beneficial for you and your community. And I feel like so many people have that backwards. Like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
cool, having 10K viewers in your stream or whatnot, but my problem would be I can't talk to all these people. I like
No.
like I'm upset that
No.
I can't interact with all these people at once. Like, that's not fun to me.
But you're
But
providing value.
Yeah.
That's what it is, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what you're streaming, right? Like
Yeah.
there was this whole thing with like the hot tub streamers or whatever. Like everyone was getting up in arms about it. Or the worst thing for a little while was when I said I streamed, was like, oh, are you one of those titty streamers? And it's like that to me, like there's so much to unpack.
Yes, that's a lot. So many layers.
Well, and the first thing I try to tell them, I'm like, one, I'm not that whatever you're trying to say I am, but also I don't have a problem with people who are streaming the way that they are and that you're attributing this name to in a negative way.
Right.
Because like these women aren't stealing people's views. They're not, acting in any way, they're acting still, if they're pushing the lines of the TOS or whatever, it's up to Twitch to crack down on them, not you. Okay?
And also, like, how is that messing with your humanity and your right to exist in the world? And I think sometimes we just take it a little too far in like regulating and wanting it to be a certain way and all of that. And if it's not infringing on that, then let people live and let them do what they want to do. And if you don't want to watch it, then don't fucking watch it.
It's called
right? Like,
next streamer.
Don't watch it. And I think that that's the other thing. I mean, one of the beauties, I think, and this goes back to kind of like that special sauce, and like the four of us here, like we're each our own person, right? So even if we were all to stream the same game, it's going to be a different experience for everyone. And that's beautiful, right?
We might not even have any kind of similar people watching us.
Exactly. And that's okay. And why these are the things that I love about social media, about Twitch, about all of that. There's this, I can't remember who said it. It was, I know where I heard it was on, there's a podcast called How I Built This. And I can't remember who, and they like have founders on, and it's like, I don't love podcasts that are longer than 23 minutes, but this one is really interesting. So they'll have people that like just talk about, they had the person that created Pokemon. They had like, there's a woman, Carol's daughter, who created this like whole line of like beauty products for Black women and for like, and whatever. Right. Yeah. But one of the people on there said this thing about the beauty of this opening of social networks and this opening of like that we all have access to kind of find the community that's ours, is that it doesn't matter if you have 10 followers or if you have 10 million, because the person with 10, if those 10 are behind them like 100%, that person is going to go so far, and they will go farther than the person with 10 million followers who just come to like see something really quick and leave. And that we have this ability and this opportunity to like kind of create these communities that are about what we want them to be about. And that's beautiful. And I hate when people come in and like, like, oh, what are you, a titty stream or whatever, because you want to make that negative. And the answer is like, no, I'm not. And tell me about that titty streamer. Let me go give them some love. Like what, right? Like as opposed
and then also,
to
like,
trying to
so
cut it
what if I
down.
am?
Yeah.
And so what if I am?
Yeah. People been here and they're watching what I'm putting out here. Like, if you got a problem with it, like
maybe I will be one day. You don't know, but like
leave.
it's this whole thing about you don't have to be there. And I'm so fascinated by people that choose to be negative and make negative comments and like kind of be in your chat in this negative way instead of just going someplace that they want to be.
Yeah.
Right. There's a lot that it says about who they are, what they're going through, what's happening for them. And I think, like their days are really numbered, and it really is going to take big companies, to your point what you were saying just now, Caroline, about like being on it. Like, no, don't let it happen anymore. And part of what we want to do is in the space that we've carved out, right? Like, yes, we're going to make sure that happens for our community.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit, what are some of the categories? I mean, I know you got this big award. This is your second. This is your second year, right?
Awards.
Yes.
I am right about that, right? This is your second award.
It's the
It
second
is.
year.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I think that's another reason why I thought you guys have been longer, is also
okay.
because of it.
You can
But hey,
Don't
like I said,
worry.
you marketed it very well. But
go.
because I'm not the only one that thought that. It's like, oh yeah, they've been
Yeah.
around forever. You know,
Yeah.
I've known them. You know, you get those people. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, I saw them way back when. It's like,
Yeah. I mean, I'll say like one thing, we talk about this a lot because it's not that we actually want more women to do this. It's about what I said, we were talking before, it's consistency.
Mhm.
And we kind of try to just stay on brand across platforms. So you're
yeah,
not,
you have
you
to.
kind of then think that, and this is something for content creators. Don't try to do like a whole bunch of different things. Like, oh, on Twitter, I'm going to be this person. On Instagram, I'm going to be this person. On Twitch, I'm going to be this person. That
Exhausting.
dilutes. It's
It is.
exhausting and it dilutes your brand, right? And so it dilutes the recognition. But if you just like keep it consistent, and I think that's one of the things that we've just really tried to do is like keep that kind of like consistent vibe and who we are across everything, because it's easy to kind of try and go and be all the things to all the people, and we just
Yeah.
can't.
See, that's one of
Yep.
the things that irritates me a lot when I go to people, especially like people in the Discord, because they don't. I mean, I don't think a lot of them understand that they connect all their links into Discord, you know, on their profile. You know, because if you use Discord, I mean, that's one thing I do first. If I'm looking for a guest or something like that, I'll go to the Discord to try to find their Twitch stream or their Facebook stream or whatever, so I can click on to go to it. And then you find one, and you click on it, and it goes, "This page is in another castle." I'm like, it's
Make
like,
sure your links are up to date.
so it's
Yeah,
either
always.
it's either up to date
Yep.
or it's the fact that they don't use consistent branding across all platforms, and they forget.
Yeah.
You know, it's like she says, it's like Carolyn said, it's exhausting. You know, to try to remember the different branding for each different one. You know, you're the same person. It doesn't matter where you're at. You're still going to be the same person. So,
Yep.
but
Unless you're like trying to do something in a professional capacity, like I know a lot of artists, for example, who
Yeah.
have like professional Twitters and then they're like more casual Twitters.
Oh,
And
yeah.
actually some content creators will do that too, right? Where like they can send their professional one to companies that they want to work with, and then you know they have their personal one for just whatever memes and whatnot.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, because I
And,
do that.
like
because
that's one thing.
yeah, because
That's
I have my gamer
But-
one, and then I have this one here too. So,
Yeah.
so
Those are like two different brands in that
Yeah.
case, right? Like you're trying to make sure you're not at that point you're purposely not diluting your brand
yeah,
by
Exactly.
separating, because you're posting enough and you're making sure
Right.
that there's content enough on both. There might be different, you know, followers for both or audiences for both.
Yeah.
Like that's absolutely separate. And you know that's absolutely when we're working, like we bring on a lot of different content creators onto our shows and to work with, and to like also like having the awards and feature in different like spots in like what we make, and being able to easily find content creators
Yeah.
is so key. Oh my god, your email or your
Don't make yourself
agent
hard to
or
find.
gosh, just
Exactly.
like any content, like
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
your DMs are open on Twitter, I will likely use that. Like I do a lot of my own networking through Twitter. Just
Yeah. Just keep
be
it simple
accessible
or
and
keep
at
it
least one
consistent. Yeah.
capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so true. But the awards. So this is our second year. November 18th is when the final, we just finished voting on Monday. So, and I don't remember how many, but like double last year. So it's just kind of growing
Really?
and growing.
nice.
And the whole, I'm going to find the number, maybe. I think that what I want to share is like the goal is connected to our mission, which is elevating and amplifying women and marginalized genders in the space, right? And that was who we wanted to elevate. So the categories are things like, you know, inclusive esports team or top streamer of the year. I'm trying to think of the other ones, like community, like a marketing one about like community, like
Yeah.
great best community, things like that. So these are categories that you would see in the industry. However, who we are highlighting and elevating are the women and non-men in the space. And so it's been amazing. And it's been so cool when I get on like a call or I go to a meeting or they're like, or even when I was at PAX West, people saying, oh my gosh, my friend who's a game dev, like we have a game dev, right? Like got nominated, or a journalist. I'm so
Nice.
excited. Or I saw like a couple of my friends that I know. And this has been amazing because in other awards, it's hard to get recognized because you're getting already like just like boxed out
Yeah.
by the people that are either the most popular or that
Yeah.
have the most connections or whatever. And we all know popularity and connections and visibility do not mean that you're the best in anything
No.
Nope.
necessarily. Some yes, but like it's not like the thing that's guaranteed.
Yeah.
So we're super excited for it.
So what are some of the top categories? How many categories did you grow? Did you grow any new categories this year compared from the last year?
So we did, and we kind of like
I know you said that, well, the collegiate would be a
got
new
rid
one.
of categories. So we did a rising star category this year where we wanted to like kind of like look for people that were kind of coming up in the space, right?
Oh, okay.
So that was a new one this year. We did I'm trying to think of the other ones that we added. We have game development, and there's a bunch underneath there. We've got content creation. We had that last year. Charity. We have like top charity streams, marketing, community managers, and yeah. So Rising Star was a new one. We did not do this year. There's a couple that we didn't do, but we just tried to be a little bit more specific with some of the categories, and like I said, try to like elevate some rising stars in the space.
So one question is, it's like, how do people get on this list? I mean, to be...
Yeah. Well, that's important. That's a great question. Mainly, it's all we as the gamers as a company do not nominate people, right? So it's all based on word of mouth and the community nominating folks, and so that's how the nomination process went. And then we have an advisory board that kind of works with like, okay, looking at who got the most votes, do they actually qualify for this, right? So we had like,
Okay.
70, how many thousands
75.
75K nominations?
And that was like
Wow.
70. Yeah, it was between 75 and 78 as far as I remember.
It was really high,
Wow.
right? So then we have
over
and so
double
then
than what we had last year.
So it was huge. We were like so not ready for it. And as a small startup, we were like, oh my God, like, have patience with us. Because
We're not a very big team.
We're not a very big team. And so it was amazing, right? And so then that gets narrowed down like based on, do you qualify for this actual category? Because sometimes people are just going to nominate someone because like, it was my friend, I'm gonna nominate, but she's not like an esports organization. So there was some that like kind of got out because of that. And then it was just a number of votes, right? And so we have an advisory board that kind of like looked through that. And so then we then had our finalists, so top 5 in every single category, and then the voting happened again, which was all from people. So this was just about we do not vote, and it's just like getting the votes out there. And I think that also doubled from last year. So that ended on Monday.
Wow.
I'm going to find that number for you. And then now we're in the phase of figuring out who the winners are, getting in touch with people to see if like, do you accept this award? And then we'll announce them all on the 18th. And so we have a lot going on in the next couple of weeks. I am actually going to co-host this year with Nars, who is an amazing person in the space.
Nice.
I'm so super, super nervous, but I'm going to try to just bring my special sauce, as we've discussed. And so we're super excited about that. And
so what's one of y'all's favorite category that you like to see people most involved with?
I mean, I'll jump in and just say I love seeing Twitch Streamer of the Year. Like,
nice.
I mean, it's probably one of our most filled categories. Like, it has so many nominations because everybody loves their people, right? Like, they want to show off like who they love, and a lot of these are really, really well deserved. It's hard to choose.
Yeah, it's so
really hard to choose.
Yeah, I was looking at some of the, it's just like, I was looking at some last year. It's like even the ones last year that you had on there. It's just like, wow, how do they do this? Because I know a lot of them. I've watched a lot of them, and it's just like, yeah, I don't want their job.
Streaming, honestly, like part of it's the content creation side, but honestly, like most of it, a lot of the work that's going on is all the stuff behind the scenes, like all the prep work, all the cutting and making sure you have it on other social media, all the making sure that you're networking, all the emails, all the setting up and graphics and whatnot, like the technical things. There's so many things that you have to work on, and it's insane. And yet people still, for some reason, keep doing it And I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful for it every day because my gosh, the amount of really cool things that come out from these people who are, you know, just making stuff at home. Like, hello?
Making stuff at home.
I love it.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite, Layla? Do you have a favorite category?
Do I have a favorite one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite one's always going to be the charity one because it's like, just because that's so selfless, and it's like, you know what, I'm going to take my time out of the day to make sure that this organization is getting the recognition and the help that it needs as a streamer, you know, so it's always going to be my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit in love with cosplay.
Ooh.
I just, that award, I just feel, and it's kind of similar to what you said, Caroline, around what it takes. Like I suck at makeup. I don't have the patience for that stuff. I want to, and I'm even toying with the idea of doing like some type of like zombie makeup this year. I've never done anything like that. But just doing anything alone, and just like I don't know, just like how they master the costumes and the cosplay, and like I am just blown away by, one, the creativity that comes into kind of creating your own version of that character, but two, like the time and dedication to it. So that's one of my favorite. Yeah.
I love cosplay.
Yeah.
I know, right?
I'm glad to see. Yeah, it's just amazing to see all the different. Oh, that didn't come. Was that supposed to? I don't know if you can hear that, but I heard it. It was like loud. But yeah, it's just all the different things that you guys. I just can't imagine. I mean, how many people are on your team that actually handle this? I guess that's what. I mean, do you have a separate team, or is it just you ladies?
Well, we have like a subset of us that do it, but like I guess like on our staff, we only have about, and these are not all full-time people, so I want to say 9. Is it 9? Maybe it's a little bit more than that. Maybe 12.
I would say up to 12.
Yeah, I think it's 12 people that are like on our staff, not all full time, right? But like, you know, and so, and honestly, for the awards, yes, we have like a core group like of 2 or 3 that like really handle like spearheading, but quite honestly, all of us are still involved somehow, right? Because you just can't do it that way. So we are definitely a pretty small, and I think that one of the beautiful things about community is that like our ambassadors, our mod squad on our Discord, like we have, even like quite honestly, some of our beta testers in the app, like we have just people that are part of our community that just like kind of volunteer to make us great, right? And like because they really understand like what this space means for them, but also wanting to get it out there. So I feel like that's just like our like kind of paid staff, if you will, but I don't even, I just can't even, I can't express how much those that volunteer for us, or those that like just go out and represent us in the world, do for us, right? So, and that's just growing every day, right? So our mod squad right now is probably like, we just grew it. So we have about 7 to 9, I think, mods that like do work for us, one in our Discord, but also will come onto our streams and will also be there for the awards. I think we have about 15 ambassadors. I know that the number is like kind of fluctuating, and we're going to bring some more in. We have like about 15 ambassadors that like are brilliant and amazing in their own right, but then also just like kind of hype us up in their spaces and in their communities.
Of course.
And I think that's like, yeah. And then we have like a collegiate division. Like we have, like I said, like we've got like DePaul University, we've got Emory, we've got all these places that like in their college spaces are kind of like really hyping us up too. So
that's good.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the important things about, even whether you're a content creator or not, is a community that's going to like speak and represent you when you're not in the room.
And I like the idea about the collegiate, is because, you know, because so many colleges nowadays, even high schools nowadays, are starting esports teams, you know, because of the lockdowns or the pandemic and everything else going about, you know, that's, you know, because I noticed now
in the States.
Yeah. And it's so sad because as a former educator, I was a school principal. I was always so late to the party. Like, come on, people, like, right? We're so late to the party.
Yeah.
We're so late, but at least we came.
Hey, you ladies come and you're wrecking it. That is for sure.
We want to make sure that there really is, you know, a place so that people don't feel that sense of like being an outsider. You know.
which I love.
Especially at earlier ages, right? Like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
I don't know
gonna.
who can.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
my
No,
bad.
go ahead.
I'm just like, I don't know who does Instagram, but I feel bad for all the alerts that I set off every time I want to represent the gamers. Like, I'm like, oh, it's just me hanging out. The gamers is like at the gamers, at the gamers. I love.
We love you for it. We love
Don't worry. Don't worry. We don't mind.
That's Rebecca. She loves it.
Yeah.
Okay, man.
So I want to just kind of get a little bit of kind of deep dive into you ladies personally. It's just like it's like Angelica, when did you start streaming?
Because I'm Angelic Layla, and I've been streaming for like 3 years almost now, I want to say. It's been very off and on, but more consistent this year and a little bit of last year. And that's like majority of people that are streamers that I've talked to, that's not even anything, because I feel like most streamers that I speak to are already in it like 5 years and like, oh, I finally made my break, like, or then they go live and I'm like 5 years and they're like, yeah, and I'm just like, okay, well, I feel better about myself, like, because it hasn't been as long. I haven't been in streaming for that long, but I started on PlayStation. All I had was my little PlayStation camera, and I connected my Twitch, and the whole reason why I started streaming was because my friends and I used to sit in a party all day. Like, somebody was in this party at least at some point all day. So we would just game, and they're like, Layla, why don't you stream? And I'm just like, why would I don't know. Like, why would I stream? Like, I'm cool hanging out with you guys. What do you mean? They're like, you're going to be doing it anyway. So why don't you just like turn on the camera and stream? And I'm just like, okay, awesome. I'll just go do that. And then I've been streaming since then. So, like, if I'm already going to be on playing, I might as well be streaming at the same time. So that's why I started.
Nice. Now, Verta, do you stream?
I stream for us
For you?
on our channel, and I started a little over a year ago, maybe about a year and a half now. A little over a year. I think it was August of last year. And the funny thing is, so when we first started, I was like, I'm gonna do a podcast and had all these ideas, right? And then, like I said, we hired people that know their stuff, and Caroline came on and was like, I'm not sure about a podcast. I'm thinking like you should stream, like just use those ideas and do it on Twitch. And I was horrified, and I was nervous, and I was scared. And I think the thing about being myself was a little scary. I think for me, I would say prior to the gamers, I would always like introduce myself as gamer adjacent. I would never say that I was a gamer.
Yeah.
I would say that I knew it through my children or even their dad, because we used to, we would play Clancy all the time, right? And like that, and listen, I hate horror. And I think that's the joy of people. I'm like horrified. Like I'm like, I'm so nervous all the time or whatever. But that said, and I gamed I grew up with not video games. This is where, video games didn't exist when I was super little. And then Atari was the first that came out. Yep. And then for me, it was more arcade. And like if we were at the beach and like playing those types of things, but I always I just remember being a spectator and then playing by myself, but not necessarily with others. And so one of the things and I would say that it was people on our team, but very specifically Chris Amaya, who's done a lot of work with us and founded Latinx in Games. And she would say to me, like, these labels are not necessary. And just like what Caroline was saying before, like, I don't have to game to be great. I could just do it because it's fun. I do suck. Like, that's just a given, but like, I don't have to be good. I just can have fun with it. Right. But I think that, so for me, streaming on our channel has been just like super fun, because it's been this fun way of me re-engaging with something that I did like, but that I didn't always do because I didn't think it was something that I was good at, nor did it feel like it was something that like kind of girls did. So that, and then I'm just a creator by nature, right? So part of my background is, I said I was a principal, I was in arts elementary school, and I'm really into just how you express yourself and creating spaces for people to express themselves. And I think that video games allows that for certain people. And I always say to people, we're in this moment where the most creative minds, I think, exist in gamers in a way, because they go into worlds that don't exist, or they create worlds that don't exist. And it's literally what we need right now.
Yep.
We literally need people that can imagine a world that has never existed to get us to kind of this greater place. And so that is something that's like really that like kind of excites me about about gaming and the space. So yeah, that's kind of where I started. So yeah, but I'm like a writer. I've done like all of these other things, and so I think it's kind of a natural progression to almost be a creator in the Twitch space.
Hey, it's just like they said, like like the dictionary describes a creator as anybody or somebody that brings anything into existence. So we're all creators at one point.
Exactly. So. And then you kind of have to do it. It's almost like it's when you create and when you do stuff like that, it's because you want to, like it's, and like you can't live without it. So it's not about the money. It's not you doing it for a living. You're doing it because you can't live without it.
Exactly.
Right? So whether it's writing or painting or whatever, right? So
yeah, I have an addiction with it. Just ask my wife. So Carolyn, what about you?
So I started streaming in university a while ago. Spent some time. But I started streaming. I'm not really sure. I don't even really remember like how I really started, but I do remember I was trying to do it with a friend because we were both kind of like into video games and we wanted to like help each other grow in a way. And so it worked really well for a little bit. And then he kind of dropped off of it and I kind of kept going. And it ended up, he got really busy with some projects that he was working on that ended up working out really well for him as well. Just, not streaming.
Yeah.
So I kind of continued with it. And I had always been very into games, like since I was a kid, like in high school, I was an avid gamer, or even like younger. And I just kind of went from there. My first job with Revlo was based around streaming. And one of the reasons I got the job was because I was invested in the space already, both on the content creation side and also like I understood kind of like the advertising, like a little bit. Like, I mean, they taught me a lot because I wasn't fully kind of in there, but and then I kind of just kept going from there. I wasn't like, I don't stream super often. Like I'll stream maybe like once or twice a week. And I've gone on hiatuses for months and months before, but like every time I come back, like I have people who have been, part of my journey who check in and who hang out and who say, yeah, we don't really care. Like when you're around, we get to hang out with you and that's great. Like, we're not going to pressure you into doing whatever. And it's been really, really nice. Like I was never in it for, a form of income. But when they did introduce the affiliate status stuff, I remember the tune of my parents changing quite a bit, especially my dad, who was very critical, especially growing up. Like I played a lot of video games. And granted, I was also like an athlete and a very good student, but I played a lot of video games. And, when I started getting a little bit of income from it, like from a few subs or whatever, some, tips from my community, the tune completely changed because then all of a sudden it was a supplementary form of income. And, the strange thing is I couldn't help but feel a little disappointed actually, because if that was all it took for my life passion, I guess, of gaming to be accepted, I think that I would have kind of found a different way to express that to my parents. Like, and it's unfortunate that I guess being paid to do something being paid for your hobbies, or like this idea of like the constant hustle, especially with streaming, right? Like I've found myself kind of rejecting it, especially more and more recently over the last few years, where I want to just enjoy something. And if people want to, give financial support, then they can, but never am I going to ask for it in that sense. Like I don't do it for my job. Like my job is to help build a community where people who actually want to do it in any capacity can do it, you know? So yeah, I mean, it's been a very interesting journey. The best part of it for sure was meeting all the people along the way and all the experiences I've gotten to have because of this space. Like I have immensely close friendships with people that I would have never met if it weren't for gaming.
Yeah.
I've had job opportunities that would have never happened if I hadn't started streaming or been interested in it. And again, being able to be fortunate enough to have at least some basic equipment to start and then figure it out along the way, while also being lucky to see people come into the space that I was in to support me. Right. And so, I look at it really as just a blessing that, keeps on giving, really.
And I think the one thing I want to say too, like, I think what I really appreciate and respect is that Caroline is also really about making sure that we respect, honor, and pay. And I think that's one way of respecting and honoring content creators for us, right? Like, so if you're doing that and like when we bring them on, and that's something that's really important, we're trying to figure out how to make sure. And if we can't pay you with money, we're like, well, what swag y'all got? Like, what thing can you give to our community? Like, not to be funny, but like, okay, like if you want to partner with us, give us things that we can give to our ambassadors or give to our content creators. And Caroline has just been really, I think she's just a force in this space around that, right? And so I think it's great.
It's very sweet. I want to additionally.
It's sweet and true. It's sweet and true.
I mean, I think like the whole money thing, like in this space, is so interesting too, because it's also been this huge conduit. Like as Layla was saying, like this whole conduit for charity, right? Like, I personally support St. Jude, which is huge on Twitch all the time, right? Like. And a lot of the content creators that I used to manage were also like really big content creators who helped not just St. Jude, but also like tons like Stack Up and whoever else, like other communities and charities across the globe. And to be able to look at that and say, okay, well, here we have somebody who's trying to make like their form of income, but they're also doing something like content creators. Most of them don't make that much. Like I know with the whole Twitch leak that just happened, a lot of people's numbers got leaked, like for top 10,000. That's not like, that's the amount that they made in like 3 years. That's some of them are less than minimum wage. Like most of them, I would say, are less than minimum wage. And that's the top 1% of content creators.
Exactly.
Do you know how many content creators below that even are doing charity streams or 24-hour streams for particular causes in one way or another? Like the amount of just people in general, like it's numbers too. It's not just like contributions, like larger contributions, but just the amount of people and like knowledge and stuff that gets out about causes and companies and all this other stuff, like in the mid-level. It's amazing.
And
I mean, we're influencers, you know. That's
exactly.
Absolutely.
You know, even though people don't understand, you know, they think in, you know, because it's just like there's content creators, there's streamers, you know, but they're all different. They're all different name tags, but you're all one thing. You're an influencer.
Yes,
absolutely.
When it comes down to it,
I think it just depends on what you're promoting for sure. And what your gift is that you're giving to the community. So definitely understand that.
So but
that's
so
it.
Is there anything else? Did we cover everything that you guys wanted to cover tonight?
Oh my gosh.
We got the app. We got the awards.
I think so.
And the awards are November 18th. And what time are they?
Schedule.
Oh, I finally got it. I put them on the spot.
My brain always forgets
like
time.
We're totally shut down right now. 7 Eastern Standard, I think.
Okay.
I can't look at my calendar because I tend to do this thing where I buffer. So on my calendar, it's going to say something like 6 to 10.
Is it on
but
there?
I think it's 7 Eastern.
November
18th.
I don't have the time on the schedule here. Hold on.
Just gonna find it. We're gonna get
I put it like we have 2 different schedules that like I've been working on here. And
I'll
like
splice that out. I'll put what time is it, and I'll just splice that in
It's
there.
gonna
So
like
just
naturally just show up. Exactly.
No, I don't even have it in here. I can't even tell you.
Yeah,
I like
I'm pretty
literally
sure
don't
it's
even
sent.
have
That's
it
okay.
right now. That's wild.
It just ended the other day, so you guys got
Exactly. We
you
got
ladies
a second.
got time
It's only
to
like a couple of us. Yeah.
I'll be
So-
able to tell you
Yeah,
in
no,
like literally a second here. Like I'm
I
just looking through my
appreciate
emails.
like we're just really happy to have this opportunity to talk to you
Yeah.
and to like share more about like what we do individually but also collectively.
Yeah.
So thank you for having us.
Yes, no, thank you, ladies, for being on here. I mean, like I said, I've been watching you guys what seemed like for years, but I guess it's only been just
Yes.
but
It has been. It's dog years, COVID years.
There you go.
Right, for sure. Yeah, definitely works out.
But I mean, I'm glad you ladies are there because, like I said, the stuff that like I said, growing up with sisters, I understand what females go through and stuff like that and everything else in this streaming world. And no, I can vouch for it. For anybody out there that thinks that female streamers get more recognition than male streamers, that's false.
Who said it? Who said that?
Absolutely.
So many
I feel
people.
like in the,
so many
my
people.
gosh,
I know, I
the
know.
amount
in
of
the
people that
industry in general, I worked at GameStop for 5 years, and you went into like so many times there were people I'd be like, "Hey, can I help you with something?" And they're like, "Oh no," and
Yep.
walk right past me, go to the manager, or go to a guy, and be like, "Hey, I need information on this game." And the whole time, my manager didn't even play video games. He would be like, "Hey, yeah," they'd be like, "Oh, well, Layla over there plays that game. She might have answers for you." And I'm just
Right.
like, "Oh, did you have a question?" Like, you know, I
Nancy,
thought
how
I
that
asked
works
you
out.
that. Thought I asked you that before.
thought
Oh,
I did.
no worries. Anyway, about the DLC. Like,
No.
silly, so silly.
No, that's one thing. You ladies do not get the recognition that you so deserve, especially, in this, you guys take a lot of crap in this. I'm going to, you take more crap than anybody on it doesn't matter where you're at. The ladies take more crap in the streaming world than I want to say anything, anybody. And they take it, but they take it well.
No lies detected. No lies detected. And
But
then
one
they
thing you're going to have to realize is that 90% of these ladies, they will fire back at you twice as hard, so just be
Oh,
prepared.
you better be ready. I ain't
Better
like
be
right.
I ain't playing. You coming into my house? Best take off your shoes. I'm telling you that.
It is 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I found
There
it.
it is.
7 p.m.
7 p.m.
All right.
Eastern Standard. Yep.
So November 18th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the GameHer Awards. They've got a little bit of work considering they doubled their tally this year. So
Yep.
I really am. I don't want their job. I mean, I like counting, but no, it's just
Not like that, right?
No. But no, I'm really, like I said, I'm really honored and proud to be able to, talk to you ladies. And I am very, very happy that there is such an organization. And I'm very ecstatic that it's growing, so to hear that it's doubled and everything else, and it's just amazing.
Yeah.
You ladies are doing amazing work.
Thank you. And thank you so much for allowing us to talk about it in this capacity. This is really lovely, and I hope that everyone gets to hang out a little bit if they want to check out our Discord or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, well, the awards for sure are going to be awesome. So I'm really, really excited for them.
Yeah, and and with the, like I said, the audio goes upload to Spotify, and I don't know. Sometimes I have them on all the other podcasts. I don't know. It just depends on, I guess, whatever Spotify wants to do at the time. But usually it's like anywhere that you can get a podcast, it's supposed to be there. But some episodes are there and some episodes aren't. So,
Well, hopefully this one will be up on Spotify.
but I know this one. I know
We'll see.
all of
Right.
them go up on Spotify. So,
okay.
but all the and now, did you know that you can put video podcasts up on Spotify?
What?
It's a beta
did
thing
not know
coming
No
out.
way.
Yeah, it's
That's
a
new,
beta
right?
coming out.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say like, there's no. I haven't seen that.
No, it hasn't really started, but they're good. People that have podcasts, they send emails out to the ones that have a podcast tag in their stuff. And so I guess as soon as they launch it 100%, right now I guess only certain people are using it, but I guess as soon as they launch it fully, they'll give it to where this can go up onto Spotify.
Cool.
Awesome.
So
That is cool.
I don't know, but yeah,
See,
no,
so
it does
I will
go up
have
on
a podcast after all.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
But we do put these up on YouTube. All of them are up on YouTube. This one will be the next one in line. And you guys are you ladies are actually the last episode for until season 2 kicks off in December. So I have to take a break because it's been, like I said, it's been a windfall the last, when did I start this? In July? July 22nd was my first actual live, I had a couple of beta, a couple of test runs prior to that, but July 21st or 22nd was my first actual show, and it's been nonstop ever since. Last week was the only week I've had nothing to do.
It's nice to have a little break,
Yeah.
There you go.
Right.
So, but yeah, it goes up on Spotify. So all the links will be on there for the awards, for the Discord. If anybody wants to join the Discord, they'll also be in the highlight. I don't know. I can't remember if we can put links in the Twitch highlights. The VODs disappear, but I highlight the entire video, so the entire video stays there. Because as long as you highlight them, it stays on Twitch. The VODs disappear.
That's how you save your VODs.
Yeah.
That's the secret.
Yeah.
The secret to it.
Yeah, because you can highlight the entire VOD, so it just automatically stays on there.
Good night.
But
Good night.
Aww.
Say night.
Good night.
She's like, who are all those people?
It's like
Another
I am a
gamer.
mother. If I did not say anything about
Well,
it.
she's used to that.
me too.
Thank you.
I am only a mother to a couple cats and a snake, and a lot of plants.
Oh, you have a snake. That's awesome.
I do, yeah.
I have
a ball python.
I have a couple of dogs that feel
Ooh.
like that. My chair is their comfort zone. I've got one on both sides.
Yeah.
Yes,
Actually, I think the other one's
I
back
saw
there.
one back there.
Yes.
Actually.
I did,
Yeah.
yes.
I wanted so bad. I was about to puppy you so bad
Oh,
in the beginning of this
my-
stream.
Yeah, I forgot.
I was
This
like,
camera, this
what
camera
is-
shows everything. My other camera only shows a certain bit. So I was
Yes,
sitting
I
there
was like,
watching her
"Oh,
scratch back there, and I'm like, oh.
No, you need a puppy cam. You need a cam that's like at her bed, Oh my gosh.
I have ducks too. I've had so much requests for duck
Oh my
cam.
God. I'm sorry.
I want to see
I only got half an hour longer.
Hey,
I am
What?
You know
She's
what?
like,
Since
what?
that
We're only
what is
talking
it? That
about the dog.
mammal resort or whatever. There's somebody that's all they do is film otters 24/7, and they get like 2,000 views.
otters. They're
Yeah,
cute
oh my
because
God.
otters are cute.
there's what is it?
They are
My
cute,
my
actually.
chicken life or something
Yeah.
that has like the chickens. There's the wolf conservatory.
Yep.
There's the duck one. Oh my God. There's so many. This is what I live for.
Yeah,
There's
so-
the Monterey Bay Aquarium also that does a lot of really cool stuff. I'm sorry, I'm gonna go off on such a tangent. Those
Can
are my
we do
favorite.
part 2? The next time we return is pets and
Pets.
animals.
I know.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
I mean,
Part 2.
Murphy has thankfully been knocked out of a puppy
I was
for
gonna
like a
say
year and a
Murphy's been
half.
quiet. Yeah.
Right? So good. I
Wow.
like ran him ragged today. I was like, nah, we gotta get all this energy out. Murphy generally makes at least one appearance or one noise or something
Nothing.
during a stream. Nothing.
I'm
right?
I'm surprised.
I'm
Usually
impressed.
mine are like
Mhm.
right here nudging me, wanting me to go do this or go do that. It freaks them out because there's no other sound in this room other than my voice, so they don't have no idea who I'm talking to.
What's going on?
Nerd.
No, Verda's puppy is like adorable, tiny, but talks. Very talkative. Has a lot of
Talkative.
opinions.
Yeah.
Oh my
They
goodness.
say, and there's this theory that your dogs are like you, so
Yeah.
maybe I'm tiny and I talk a lot and I'm all those things because I'm 5'4.5", 5'5" on a good day. So
But five.
depends on
Hell yeah.
on a good
No,
day.
thank you so much
But-
for having us on.
Yeah,
It
No,
was
thank you again.
lovely.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
You ladies are
Appreciate
welcome to
it.
come back on if there's something you guys want to discuss and get out there or whatever. I can try to help as much as I can, and we can get back on here and do this again. I'd be glad.
Awesome.
Would
You
love
know,
that.
if you guys want to
Alright.
come back on next season, I don't know how long it's going to run. Like I said, this was just a pilot season to see how well it was going to go. So you ladies are more than welcome to come back on next season if you want. So,
Sweet. Much
Sweet.
appreciated.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. You
All
ladies
right.
have a good night. It was nice to meet you all.
Bye.
Nice to meet you too. We'll see you later.
All right.